everyone, something quick before I get into the rest of the video. If you haven't noticed, the past two uploads were re-uploads of videos I made about a year or so ago. I'm so happy to see how well they've performed, even if they aren't the best. I will be making updated versions of these videos soon, and hopefully they will look a little better than before. Before we get into it, I would like to ask you to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into the video. There are a lot of enemies that you will face while playing Fallout 3. Raiders, super mutants, and rogue robots, just to name a few, but none of them really compare to the Enclave, which are the big bad of this Fallout game. The Enclave are a group of genocidal purists that believe they are the only people that have the right to inhabit this new wasteland. With their vertebrates and energy weapons, they can be extremely tough to fight, especially at lower levels. The Enclave sports some of the best power armor found in the game, along with some of the best weapons, such as plasma weapons and the Gatling laser, but we'll get into them a little later. For now, I would like to talk about the companions of the game, which can make fighting these formidable foes just a little bit easier. There are 8 permanent companions in the game, starting with Star Paladin Cross, which mainly uses melee weapons, sporting a super sledge, and is a ranged weapon, sporting a laser pistol. She requires good karma or higher to acquire her as a companion, and you have to reach a certain point in the game to have her. Very useful companion, although with the melee weapon being her main weapon of choice, she's more of a meat shield than anything else, but let's ignore that. Butch Deloria, which you can actually find at the beginning of the game. He will not yet be available as a companion, but he is a recurring character in this game. He requires neutral karma to acquire him, and he can only be acquired after completing the Save the Vault quest, after completing the Project Purity quest. Next is Clover, found in Paradise Falls. You can actually buy her for, I believe, 1,000 caps at the beginning of the game, as long as you have evil karma. Not very useful. She has a, I believe, double barrel shotgun and a Chinese officer sword as her weapons. Not very useful. Sergeant RL3, which you can acquire by going to the Robco factory and speaking to the person that's selling him. Very useful companion, although he does require neutral karma. Jericho, which is a retired raider found in Megaton at the beginning of the game. He will cost you 1,000 caps to hire him, or 750, I believe, if you pass the barter check at the beginning of the game. He comes equipped with leather armor, a Chinese assault rifle, and I believe that's the only weapon he has. I've never switched him to melee before, so I'm not sure as to what he sports there. Fox, which is a super mutant that requires good karma, has a super sledge and a Gatling laser. He can only be found after completing the Raven Rock quest. Dogmeat, which is a dog, no karma required. You have to pick him up from the scrapyard whenever you feel like it. And Sharon, which is a ghoul bodyguard with no karma requirements, coming with a combat shotgun. Very effective companion. Now, let's get into the perks. There are a lot of perks to choose from and multiple different ways to build your character, and you can be a bodybuilder using only your hands to destroy everything in your path, or you can be a high-tech tank that is built to take damage and deal out a ton of damage. It's all up to you. There's almost no limit on the weapons or armors you can choose from for your character besides power armor, which requires training to use, but there are ways around that. There's 2 main ways of getting it. You have to get into the Citadel to require the training, or you have to complete the Operation Anchorage DLC to acquire that perk. The next thing I want to discuss is the map of Fallout 3. It has a lot of places to loot and explore while you build your character with the perks and stats you desire. With 4 fully explorable DLCs, you have plenty of things to explore and shouldn't run out of things to find. My favorite DLC and character build is the Pit, because it has things that my character build requires for a good playthrough. I usually play a teched out energy weapon build in which I run the power armor, the best of which that you can find in the game in my opinion, just based on purely stats that you receive from the power armor, is the Asher's power armor found during the Pit DLC and or the tribal power armor that is also found in that DLC, along with the best laser weapon in the game in my opinion that can be found in this DLC as well, is the Metal Blaster, which you receive for finding a certain amount of iron ingots in the scrapyard. If the pit isn't your speed, however, there are plenty of other good Fallout 3 DLCs. Let's start with Operation Anchorage, which is a simulation of the Chinese-American War that took place before the events of any other Fallout game. During this DLC, your main goal is to liberate Anchorage, Alaska from the Chinese. You receive plenty of good loot at the end of this DLC, such as the winterized T-51 power armor and Jing Wei's electric Chinese sword, among other items. This DLC is very good. The winterized T-51 is very good. I can't rank it higher because it doesn't give as good of stats as the power armor found in the pit, but let's move on. Next is Mothership Zeta, which takes place in a massive spaceship that has abducted and probed you. Your goal during this DLC is to aid the other abductees and take over the ship. You can find a lot of amazing weapons during this DLC as well. Lastly, there's Point Lookout, which has such fun things to do, such as fighting the mutated hillbillies that live there, also known as Cletus and the Boys. Your main goal in this DLC is to either help a British ghoul that is very rude or help a brain in a jar, neither of which are very appealing for most players. I am aware that this is an oversimplification, but I don't want to take all day on these DLCs. I may make a separate video only about the DLCs, but that would be up to you guys. The next thing I want to discuss is the main story of the game. I will simplify it because I want people to explore this game on their own and come to their own opinions. At the start of the game, your father flees Vault 101. You have to chase after him. You eventually catch him at Vault 112 and he immediately asks for your help with Project Purity. You then go to Rivet City to find Dr. Madison Lee, important in later Fallout games. You then make it to Jefferson Memorial, where you are tasked with clearing it of all super mutants and doing all the manual labor. Once this is completed, the Enclave arrive and take over the facility, killing your father in the progress. You now have to escape as an orphan. You reach the Citadel using the underground tunnels below Project Purity and are tasked with retrieving the Gek, also known as the Garden of Eden Creation Kit. Once you retrieve the Gek with the aid of Fox, found in Vault 87, you're kidnapped by the Enclave, where you have to be interrogated by General Autumn. Once this is complete, however, the President will release you and you have to fight your way through Raven Rock to the President's main quarters. He will then ask you to install a modified FEV virus into the purifier, so that way you can kill, in quotes, all mutant life, including yourself, by the way. Once you escape from there, you can choose to either blow it up or leave it as it is. Either way, once you reach the end of the game, the place will be destroyed. Once you return back to the Citadel, you will assault the purifier. The Brotherhood will win. Shocker. But that isn't the end. Side note, this is technically DLC content, but I believe it should have been added to the main story of the game from the beginning, but whatever, this will be very simplified. You wake up from a 2-week coma. The Brotherhood tasks you with fighting the Enclave once again, because for some reason they're not gone, even though their main base is destroyed. To nobody's shock, Liberty Prime is destroyed in this assault, and you have to find a Tesla coil to create their wonder weapon. Once this is complete, you will be tasked with assaulting Adams Air Force Base and destroying the Enclave once and for all in the Capital Wasteland. Very oversimplification, but it should do the job. Thank you guys for watching, and have a nice day.